Welcome, friends, to our channel Chemistry is Awesome. In previous video, we have seen that first law of thermodynamics for various processes. In today's video, we have to see enthalpy, then relation between delta H and delta U, and work done in chemical reactions. First of all, we see what is the meaning of enthalpy. Its notation is capital H. We have known that this enthalpy is a new thermodynamic function and it is a state function. I have already told in previous videos. How we can define enthalpy? Enthalpy is nothing but the sum of internal energy U and energy equivalent to PV work. So that is called as enthalpy. You see here, how we can define? It is the sum of internal energy which is denoted by U and energy equivalent to PV work. You see here, so that is called as enthalpy. And how it is mathematically written? H is equal to U plus PV. Suppose this is equation 1. We have to derive here a simple equation. I have written the definition of enthalpy. It is the sum of internal energy U and energy equivalent to PV work. This H is equal to U plus PV. I have known that H is the state function. Means when any system goes from initial state to final state, suppose it goes from state A to state B, and the enthalpy at state A is suppose H1 and enthalpy at state B, it is suppose H2, then we can calculate the change in enthalpy delta H. And delta H, since it is a state function, then its change can be calculated. How it is calculated? Delta H is equal to H2 minus H1, means enthalpy at state B minus enthalpy at state A, H2 minus H1. Suppose it is equation number 2. We are going to write the equation for enthalpy change. You see here, H1 is equal to, how we can write according to the definition of enthalpy? It is U1 plus P1 V1 and H2 is equal to U2 plus P2 V2. We can write for H1 and H2 like this. By putting the values of H1 and H2 in this equation 2, we will get delta H is equal to here UT plus P2 V2 minus U1 plus P1 V1. Then next equation, delta H is equal to, if you remove this bracket, so we will obtain U2 plus P2 V2 minus U1 minus P1 V1. Suppose next equation 3. What I did here, only remove this bracket, then minus U1 and minus P1 V1. The next equation delta H is equal to, if you write this internal energy side by side, U2 minus U1 plus P2 V2 minus P1 V1. Suppose it is next equation 4. Here delta H is equal to U2 minus U1 means it is the internal energy change at two states. final state and initial state. And this is the change in internal energy. U2 minus U1 is change in internal energy, and it is done by delta U plus. Here P1 and P2. P1 is the pressure at state A and P2 is the pressure at state B. If at both the states the pressure is constant, then it can be, you see how we can write, if P1 is equal to P2 is equal to P, then that pressure is constant, means PV2 minus PV1. But when it is possible, since P1 is equal to P2 is equal to P, means at constant pressure we can write like this. Therefore, delta H is equal to delta U plus P can be taken out of bracket, and in bracket V2 minus V1. And what is the V2 minus V1? V2 is the volume of the system at state B and V1 is the volume of the system at state A, and V2 minus V1 is the change in volume, and that change in volume we can write delta H is equal to delta U plus P delta V, and this is the final equation for enthalpy change. Friends, I have known that in previous video we have seen that when first law of thermodynamics, how we can write that first law of thermodynamics for isobaric process. We have seen at the time first law of thermodynamics for isobaric process can be written as QP is equal to delta U plus P delta V. You see here. So this is the first law of thermodynamics for isobaric process. And pressure is kept constant. By comparing that equation with this equation 5, we will observe here right hand side of that equation and right hand side of this equation 5, both is the same. Therefore, the left hand side can be equated. So from that equation we can write delta H is equal to QP. Delta H is equal to QP. So what this last equation indicates? Delta H is equal to QP means enthalpy change is equal to heat transferred by the system at constant pressure. You see here, what this last equation indicates, enthalpy change of the system is equal to the heat transferred by that system at constant pressure. And it should be noted here that the enthalpy H and change in enthalpy both are state functions. So in this manner we have derived here a simple equation for enthalpy change. We will go towards the next equation. Or the derivation. So that is relation between delta H and delta U for the chemical reaction. Relation between delta H and delta U for the chemical reaction. Or the chemical reactions. This is also a simple derivation. That simple derivation we have to derive. So I will write what will be the final equation. That final equation will be right here, delta H is equal to delta U plus delta nRT. So N, delta N, so that is the change in number of moles of gases at final state and initial state. So that is the final equation which we have to obtain, and from which equation that equation is to be obtained. If you remember only these two equations, then whole derivation will be easy one. Derivations should not be mug up, but it should be properly understood by you. For this derivation, for this relation delta H and delta U, we have to start this derivation from the equation just we have seen now. What was the last equation just we saw here? Delta H is equal to delta U plus P delta V. This is the equation just we derived. Delta H means enthalpy change at two states of this system, initial state and final state. Delta U, internal energy change of this system. P is the pressure which is constant, and delta V, it is the change in volume. Then we have to continue this equation. How? Delta H is equal to delta U plus P. What is delta V? That is the change in volume. Volume of the system at final state V2 minus volume of the system at initial state V1. So that we can write delta V is equal to V2 minus V1. Then delta H is equal to delta U plus, if you multiply by pressure to that bracket, we will get PV2 minus PV1. Suppose this is next equation 3. Here delta H is equal to delta U plus PV2 minus PV1. Here suppose any chemical reaction is taking place at that time, the reactants and products, they may be present in solid state, liquid state or gaseous state. But when the reactants and products are present in solid and liquid states, at that time the change in volume which is taking place, so that is negligible one, that cannot be considered. But when reactants and products are present in solid and liquid state, but when the reactants and products, one of the reactant or one of the products, or more than one reactants and products, if they are present in gaseous state, then how that relation we can be written for the delta H and delta U for chemical reactions which are present in gaseous state. At that time, change in volume cannot be neglected. Change in volume of the gaseous substances cannot be neglected at that time. But here we have to consider when the reactants and products, when they are present in gaseous state, they are considered as an ideal gas. What is ideal gas? The gas which obeys the gas laws, Boyle's law, Charles law, Avogadro's law, and gas law equation. What is the gas law equation? We know that PV is equal to nRT. So that is general gas equation that follows if those gases which are present in reactant side or product side, they are ideal gas. Then we can write, if they are ideal gases, then PV is equal to nRT. So this is the ideal gas equation. What is P? That is the pressure. What is V? Volume. N, number of moles of the gaseous substances. R, gas constant. And T, that is the temperature, it is also remain constant. Then here, pressure, R and T. So these are the constants. If the number of moles of the reactants and products are changed, then its volume changes. If number of moles at initial state they are N1, then its volume will be V1. And number of moles at product side they are N2, its volume will be V2. Therefore, the same equation can be written as PV1 is equal to N1 RT and PV2 is equal to N2 RT. You see here how these two equations are written. From ideal gas equation, we have known that PV is equal to nRT And from that we can write PV1 is equal to N1RT and PV2 is equal to N2RT. But when it is possible? When the gases which are formed during the chemical reaction, they may be either reactant side or to the product side, if they follow the laws of ideal gas. Means here instead of this PV2 and PV1 we can write N2RT minus N1RT. Suppose this is equation number 4. The next equation delta H is equal to delta U plus, here RT is common and in bracket N2 minus N1 RT. N2 and N1, what are these? N2 are the number of moles of gaseous substance present at product side and N1 are the number of moles of gaseous reactant present at reactant side. And that N2 minus N1, it is the change in number of moles, and this change in number of moles, it is shown by delta N and it will be equal to N2 minus N1. So therefore, we can write the next equation delta H is equal to delta U plus delta N RT. What is the delta N? Change in number of moles of gaseous substances. So therefore, we can write the final equation delta H is equal to delta U plus delta nRT. So this is the relation between delta H and delta U for the chemical reactions. Here also we have to see what are the conditions for delta H is equal to delta U. So that question in board may ask what are the conditions for delta H is equal to delta U. Let's see here. There are three important conditions when delta H will be equal to delta U. At the time, what are the three conditions? You see here, first condition, here in this derivation, first equation is delta H is equal to delta U plus P delta V, and final equation is delta H is equal to delta U plus delta nRT. You should be clear that here delta H is equal to delta U, here delta H is equal to delta U, but difference is that here is P delta U term and here is delta nRT term. When delta H is equal to delta U, when both these terms, this P delta V and delta nRT will be 0. And we have to think here, when these two terms will be 0, and then only delta H is equal to delta U. In three cases, these two terms will be 0. You see here, when delta V is 0 in first equation, then initial volume and final volume will be same. Or, so it will be 0 and delta V is 0. When volume change is 0, when reactants and products are present in solid and liquid state. At that time, there is no volume change. So therefore, delta V is neglected or it is 0. So therefore, this term will be 0. When it will be 0? In first condition, when solids and liquids taking part in a reaction only, not gaseous substances are present, reactant side or product side. During chemical reaction, only solids and liquids are present. Then there is no question of gas and there is no question of change in volume, so therefore this term will be 0. Second condition, what is the second condition during which only delta is equal to delta V? If suppose the reaction is carried out in a sealed container or closed container. When reaction is carried out in closed container, at that time, what is the initial volume? So that will be the final volume. Means there is no question of change in volume. Means initial volume V1 is equal to final volume, and therefore change in volume delta V is equal to 0. And it is possible when the reaction is carried out in a closed container, then the P delta V term will be 0. And reaction is carried out in closed container. So this is the second condition. And third and final condition is that, now regarding this, delta is equal to delta U in this equation when delta N is 0. Means change in number of moles will be 0. Change in number of moles, when it will be 0? When number of moles of reactants are equal to the number of moles of product. Then change in number of moles will be equal to 0, and this whole term will be 0, and then only delta is equal to delta U. So, what we can write the third condition, when number of moles of gases reactants are equal to the number of moles of gaseous product, number of moles of gaseous products. So these are the three conditions due to which the delta is equal to delta U. I hope that you should understood this equation or this relation. In short, I will try to repeat it. We have to derive here relationship between delta H and delta U for chemical reactions. So we have to derive this equation from the equation delta H is equal to delta U plus P delta V, which just we have seen. Here delta U means change in volume. So that change in volume is V2 minus V1, final volume minus initial volume. In third equation, you multiply this pressure to the bracket, then you will get PV2 minus PV1. Here, we have to consider one condition. What is the condition? During a chemical reaction, what the reactants are reacting and what the products are formed during a chemical reaction. These gaseous reactants and gaseous products, if they are ideal gases, means they are following the gas laws and following the ideal gas equation, PV is equal to nRT. So here we can write P is the constant, R is the constant, T is the constant. Pressure, temperature and R, these are the constant values. Only change taking place when number of moles are N1, then its volume will be V1, and number of moles are N2, then its volume will be V2. PV1 is equal to N1 RT, PV2 is equal to N2 RT. So these values of PV1 and PV2 we should write here in this equation number 3. We will get the next equation 4. Here RT is common, can be taken out of bracket, and in bracket N2 minus N1. N2 are the number of moles of gaseous products and N1 are the number of moles of gaseous reactant. And this difference, so that is the change in number of moles, delta N. So and this is the gas. I have written here Z because these change in number of moles only we have to consider those reactants and products which are present in gaseous state, not in solid and liquid state. So this keep in mind that condition, and here the final equation which is obtained here. But what are the conditions for delta H is equal to delta U? And when will be delta H is equal to delta U? What will be the conditions? The three conditions are there, which I have written here. During the chemical reaction, only solids and liquids are present. No gas reactant or no gas product is there. At that time only, this volume change will be 0 and this P delta V will be 0. Second condition, when that reaction is carried out in a closed container, then change in volume will be 0 and that term will be 0 and only delta H is equal to delta U. And third condition is that if the reaction is taking place at the time what the reactants present in gaseous state or the products which are present in gaseous state, their number of moles are equal, same. Means N1 is equal to N2. At that time, change in number of moles, delta N will be 0. At that time, this whole term will be 0 and delta is equal to delta U. Okay, here I have completed this point, and the third point, work done in chemical reactions, that we have to see here. Work done in chemical reactions. Work done in chemical reactions. Very simple derivation it is. What is the work done in chemical reactions? We have seen that PV work done. What is that PV work done? W is equal to minus P delta V. I have to start this derivation from this equation. In simple work, W is equal to minus P delta V. Here P is the external pressure applied on the piston. Here W is equal to P external and P internal, means these two pressures are same. At that time we can write P only, P delta V, means here W is equal to minus P delta means change in volume, final volume minus initial volume. About this is equation number 2. Then W is equal to minus PV2 minus PV1. Here this out of bracket minus sign is there, this minus minus plus will be there. Suppose this is equation number 3. The gas which is filled in the cylinder, suppose it is an ideal gas, then just we saw that PV is equal to nRT, so that is ideal gas equation, and PV1 is equal to N1RT and PV2 is equal to N2RT. By putting these values of PV1 and PV2, we will get W is equal to minus N2RT and plus N1RT. What we did here? Simply we have kept the values of PV1 and PV2. Here RT is common, it can be taken out of bracket. Then what will be remain in bracket? Here N2 minus N1 outside bracket, so that is the RT. You see here, if you multiply by this minus sign to the whole bracket, you will get minus N2 RT, and here minus minus plus N1 RT. So therefore we have written here N2 minus N1. So what is this N2 minus N1? It is the difference between change in number of moles at two states, at final state and initial state. So therefore W is equal to minus, it can be written as delta N, but it is for gaseous substance, delta N RT as it is, and this is the final equation, and this is the simple derivation or simple equation for the work done in chemical reaction when pressure is kept constant. So that is the condition, pressure is kept constant. So at the time here W is equal to minus delta N RT. So in this manner this equation can be read. The work done, the sign of work done depends upon the volume change. Means the sign of the work done depends upon the delta N. Means the change in number of moles. Means it depends upon N1 and N2. So what are the conditions? Here are three conditions. N2 is greater than N1. Second, N2 is less than N1. And third is N1 is equal to N2. You see here, when N2 is greater than N1, means final number of moles which are present at product side, they are larger than the initial number of moles which are present toward the reactant side. Then there is volume change in volume, and that change in volume is work of expansion is taking place. You see here, N2 is greater than N1, this delta N is positive. Delta N is positive, means here final volume is greater than initial volume, means final volume V2 is greater than initial volume V1. At that time, the work of expansion is taking place. Work of expansion, at that time, work done is less than 0. Work of expansion. Work of expansion means work is done by the system from the surrounding. Then N2 is greater than N1. So that work done is negative work done. If N2 is less than N1, means delta N is negative. And delta N is negative, then negative, positive, means here V2 is less than V1, and at that time work done is greater than 0, means positive work, means here work of contraction. Work of contraction. Work of contraction is taking place. Means here work is done on the system by the surrounding, which will be a positive work. And third condition, when N1 is equal to N2, means initial number of moles are equal to final number of moles, there is no any type of work done. There is work done is 0. No work of expansion, no work of contraction is taking place. Okay, at that time delta N is equal to 0. Friends, in last video we have seen one question which was asked in AIEEE exam. So its answer now we have to see here. Assuming that water vapor is an ideal gas, the internal energy change when 1 mole of water is vaporized at 1 bar pressure and 100 degrees Celsius will be. So you have to calculate here what will be internal energy change. Given that molar enthalpy of vaporization of water at 1 bar and 273 Kelvin is equal to 41 kilojoule per mole and R is equal to 8.3 joule per Kelvin per mole. This problem depends upon the equation delta H is equal to delta U plus delta nRT. Here you have to calculate the internal energy change, means delta U is equal to delta H minus delta nRT. Here delta H enthalpy change is given, and that enthalpy change, so that is 41 kilojoule per mole. Here what is the delta N? Here you have to write a simple reaction. What is the reaction? H2O liquid gives H2O gas. Here you have to calculate change in number of moles. Change in number of moles can be written as delta N is equal to number of moles of gaseous product minus number of moles of gaseous reactants. Here number of moles of gaseous product, so that is only 1 mole of water which is present in gaseous state, and there is no gaseous reactants are there, so therefore it is 0. Here delta N is equal to 1 only. So you have to keep here value of delta N 1 or 8.3. It is given temperature, so that is at 100 degrees Celsius, means in Kelvin it should be 373 Kelvin. 373 Kelvin. But this 8.3 value of R is given in joule, you have to multiply by 10 raised to minus 3 to convert in kilojoule, because here delta H is given in kilojoule. So therefore, by calculating all these values, we will get 41.0 minus, you see here, 8.3 into 373 into 10 raised to minus 3. You do the calculation, and this calculation after doing, you will get the final equation, final value of this delta U. We have to subtract this value from this 41.0. Therefore, definitely its value will be less than 41. And in your alternatives, only C alternative is there whose value is less than 41. You see here, that is 37.904. Its subtraction is 37.904 kilojoule per mole. So this will be your final answer, and that is given in alternative C. C is your answer. So this is the question asked in IEEE exam of 2007. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.